Feel great, man.
The same deal.
Yeah, man. Enjoying Hawaii. I feel great.
Talk to me a little bit about, I guess, the path to get here and who you had to go through and what you feel like the challenge is on Saturday night. I mean, is this a bigger challenge than the first two fights in the tournament? Or do you feel like maybe you had it a little bit tougher in those first two and this is going to be a breeze?
I expect the biggest challenge. I'm ready for the biggest challenge. I don't mind if it's harder than my first two fights. I don't by any means do I underestimate his skills. I know where he's dangerous, and I'm confident that my ability can warp his style. I feel I have a much belief in my skill set, and I feel like my skill set matches horribly with his, and I could put him away. Now, comparing him to my last two fights, I'm not sure. That doesn't really matter if it is, but I'm ready for the hardest or the easiest fight of my life, but I'm prepared for the hardest,
Is that piece of hardware in front of you bigger and more important than the giant fake check that you'll get if you get your hand raised on Saturday? Or that check's pretty good too, of course, but
yeah, I fight to be the best. So when I got into this, I wanted to be the best in the world, and that's what I'm chasing. I believe I'm the best bantamweight, 135 pounder in the world, and with this belt, it'll give me more notoriety to say that. The money, I didn't get involved with this just for the sole fact of money. When I got started fighting and I went on that humongous streak, 24 fights in a row, it was not for money. Saturday night, it will not just be for money. It'll be to call myself the best bantamweight in this division. And it'll be to claim this belt. The first time, September 12th, 2020, I fell short. It's the only loss, burning a hole in my record, on my mind. And it was a longer road than just these fights in this tournament to get here. I had to go through Albert Morales on short notice. I had to go through James Gallagher in Ireland, hostile territory. I think that fight stylistically might even be a harder fight, than him. You put him on the floor with James. I don't even know if James can't submit him, So, styles make fights. And, I took a long road to get here. 4 fight winning streak, few years, on the plus side, getting ready. And, now Saturday, it's all about claiming this gold.
He told us yesterday that he feels like this final is probably the best matchup that could have happened coming out of this tournament. But he was a little surprised that you were here. Gave you all props for your skills, all that kind of stuff. But he thought, I felt like he was the underdog maybe in the first couple of fights. And yeah, maybe I was a little surprised to see him there. What do you think about him being in the final? And is he who you expected to see standing across from you on Saturday night the whole time?
I didn't know who to expect. I just figured the bracket would play itself out. I didn't look too far into it and think like who would be on the other side had it made it to the final. All I thought is maybe, Kyoji Horiguchi might have been the best guy before the tournament had started, and I had him first round. That's all I had thought. And, it surprises me when a lot of these people underestimate me, I've never been finished. He has. I've never been knocked out. I've never been submitted. He has, my loss is a razor close loss to Juan Archuleta in a fight where I was dominating until I got tired. I could be sitting up here easily 18-0 had I don't get tired and end up in the bottom of a scramble or two, had I got a little better preparation and, it wasn't during COVID when gyms were closed and it was hard to get training partners, now I'm here full force, better, stronger, older, wiser, in my brain, in my brain, as I said, I have a loss, but to me, it's a lesson. No man's ever trumped me out there. One man has survived me. And Saturday night, I'm going to dominate him and come to finish him. And we'll see if he survives. And if he does survive him, I'm going to make sure I dominated every round so that no judge can score it in the other fashion, in the other favor. So, this is going to be my coming out party. I'm the guy. I'm the most dangerous guy. I'm the finisher here. I have more finishes than him. I have more rounds won than him. You know, I have more fights than him. If you look at my amateur career, I'm ready to go out there and I'm ready to finish him. I'm ready to go out there and finish my business. And it's me versus him. All those other fights, all this other stuff, it really doesn't matter. Saturday night, it's me versus him, 1-versus-1. And I'm going to beat up Rufian Stots.
We talked yesterday briefly about, now you're not just needing to think down the road about, okay, if I win, I've got Sergio. Now you got to wonder about Sergio or Pitbull. So I guess I'm curious what you think about Pitbull moving down to 135. Do you think it's going to be hard on him? Do you think he's crazy from having been at 55 and 45 and the 35 might be a tough cut for him? Do you have any inside info about what this might be like for him? And do you think he's making a smart move, I guess, to go this route?
I think it's great, great for the division, great for the promotion. I have a lot of respect for Patricio Pitbull for moving down, for trying to chase history. To be a 3-weight world champion is hard to do. He defeated Michael Chandler, knocked him out for the 155-pound belt. He was the only person to defeat AJ McKee at 145 for that belt. He was a long-time holder of that belt. And now he goes to try to become a three-way world champion. Now he'll be a 135-pound contender against Sergio Pettis. And nothing but respect. I hope that he gets it done. I want to fight the number 1 pound-for-pound fighter on the Bellator roster. I want a chance at the number 1 guy. The true number 1 right now. That's the record. That's what it says. So I want him to win. I want to test myself with all the momentum against the number 1 guy. And if Sergio does get the job done, he'll have, been the one to get the number 1 guy. So either way, I have a super fight lined up after this. And Saturday night, it's even bigger than for me than punching my way from that MAGA fight to the finale. Saturday night, I want to punch myself into a super fight of the ages. And, people don't know it yet, but my team, myself, we all know, I'm the best. I'm one of the best bantamweights in the world. I believe I'm the best bantamweight in the world. My team and, myself, more importantly, we know. And all I have to do is just go out there, be myself, and I'll prove it.
Speaking of your team, obviously you also spoke on the journey you've had to prove yourself from your lone loss. Now, Patchy, anyone following your career knows you've had all the skills, intangibles, the tangibles, to where if we were to have to make a bet, I'm sure most of us would bet that you'd be doing good. So that's not a surprise. But can I ask you about this recent streak? It also coincides with training in Las Vegas. And again, training with high-level talent, nothing new to you. But speak about that. Syndicate, Extreme Couture, maybe unheralded coaches like the Nate Pettits of the world. Is there something that's been going on that you figured out behind the scenes as well?
Yeah, my training regimen was completely different at Jackson Wink. I trained almost as a hobbyist. I went to the gym and it was all watered, no offense to them, but at the time it was a little bit watered down. I trained with a lot of amateur fighters, a lot of low-level pro fighters. Inside the training rooms now, I only train with world champions. I only train with people that can contend for world championships. I train with guys that are undefeated, that are coming up to the best in any room. The Javid, Farid, Basharat brothers. They're both in the UFC. Amir Albazi, the Kobe Fairs, the Dan Iges. I have so many training partners. And then I also train with outside in Vegas with a lot of jiu-jitsu competitors. Andy Varala. I was just on the mat with Cody Steele, Damian Anderson, JT Torres, Gary Tonin, my coach, Jake Shields, so many of the highest level jiu-jitsu competitors. And then also my coach, Harry St. Ledger, like you said, the coaches of the world, the Nate Pettits, the Harry St. Ledgers, my coach, Harry, and me, we set out to win a world title a couple of years ago. And he's been with me ever since then. And I was so young and I was such a finisher that when I got there, I got so excited to try to finish. And I used so much energy. So we, like you said, we made adjustments and, he came with me to Las Vegas, even though he was in Albuquerque with me. He flies to Las Vegas to help me close out my jiu-jitsu, all the, the things that we feel we need to focus for this fight. He flew out and helped me. And having the training partners and him overseeing it, I felt like, I've leveled up a lot. Just in the last couple of months, not even just in the last couple of years. And I really found my home in Las Vegas. And this is going to be a very, very dangerous version of myself. And I'm just excited to see it for myself. I want to, I want to look back on this day on Saturday night and, I want to feel that I just put my best foot forward and, gave it my all. Because if I do that, I'm very dangerous and I'm very exciting,
Fantastic. And obviously you're the type to be looking forward as you should. You don't want to look backward. And when you get the belt, people come to you. You don't necessarily have to call people out, right? That being said, you did speak about the burning in your soul as the verbiage you used a bit. Is there a party that still wants to get that back with Archuleta? And a second part, how do you think that fight would go now if they were to replay it? Let's just say randomly.
Yeah, I have a lot of respect for Juan Archuleta. He gave me some lessons in my life and in my career, that I needed at the time that I needed them, just about preparing for fights, training, staying disciplined. Because the way he beat me was being a better trained athlete, a more disciplined athlete, and a better cardio athlete. He burned me in the cardio and, more respect to him. But yes, over time, I feel like we will run that one back. He's on a tear right now. I think he's going to go win the Risen belt. And, after he goes and does his business, I think he'll win that belt. I handle, this fight and Patricio looking forward or Pettis, I feel like that fight happens down the line. And, you best assure I'm coming for that one back on my record. I want that one so I could erase it. So, much respect to him, but we'll run it down the line in a crazy super fight. Within the next year, if my money was right.
Hey, Patchy, K. Williams for Can Chronicles Media. Stots is known to antagonize his opponents. He loves to taunt his opponents as well. How much will you use that as fuel for Saturday's match?
Yeah, aside from interviews and, like selling the fight, him talking, it doesn't really weigh too much on me when it comes to fighting. Our skill sets are our skill sets. I don't want to hurt him any more or any less because he was talking, granted, let's say maybe it'd feel a little better if I put him through the ringer as opposed to getting a quick submission on him. Like some people, I submit them and I don't even do no damage to him. You know what I mean? Maybe it'd make me feel better, but to say like, I'm going out there to finish him as fast as I could. If I could go take his neck in the first 10 seconds, I'll take his neck in the first 10 seconds, him and his antagonizing ways. I think that it's just insecurities talking and it only puts pressure on him. I don't feel any pressure for him to run his mouth and, kind of antagonize me or nothing. It won't change my game plan at all. I will go out there and I'll dominate him. And as I'm doing that, he'll soon realize that, all that shit he was talking didn't really matter.
Thank you for your time.
Dylan Rush.
Hey, what's up, Patchy? How you doing? I see you're out there with Nate Pettit. I'm on Zoom. I see you're out there with Nate Pettit, Harry St. Ledger, Tatiana. You got Kobe the Don out there now. But you've also been doing classes under Ali Abdelaziz, your manager, with other dominance guys, Mads and Jeremy Kennedy. How helpful are those classes towards your preparation? And is it cool to have a manager that not only helps you with the business side of things, but helps you refine your skills as well?
Yeah, I love Ali's classes. We do them, I think, Monday, Fridays. Yeah. So we've been doing them this whole camp. He's helped me a lot specifically for this fight. And having dominance, like my manager running it, is the best because he brings in, I'm in like super camps every day. Like, I train with Islam Makhachev, Umar, Amir, Farah, Javid, Jeremy, Mads, myself, Kobe. We have like these super rooms that you just can't replicate this room. Rufian Stots don't have a training room like this. And if he was in my room, he'd get submitted by me 5 times, or, I've literally watched it. He'd get submitted by the other surrounding competitors around me, So like having this room is perfect for me because when I'm in the war on Saturday night, it's going to feel like home to me. Like this guy's not going to go throw no crazy stuff at me. And if he does, it's not like I can't take it. I'm in, I sparred Mads or I grapple Mads, what I mean? I go with these guys every single day. So, it's important that I get this training and I'm grateful for Ali that he allows, he gives us the opportunity more to say.
And you mentioned you were 27 years old when you had your first shot at Bellator Gold. You entered this second championship opportunity at 29. That razor close loss was to Juan Archuleta, a man you've trained with recently, who says you're twice the fighter that you were back then. How much has your game evolved since that fight with the Spaniard?
Yeah, my game evolved, tremendously. It was like, if it's not broke, don't fix it. That's what I won that fight with attitude, because I was finishing everyone and I just take people down and take their back. And more times than not, I'd finish them. But sometimes I'd have these rounds where my whole career, it's like where I'm on the back the whole round and I didn't get to finish. But I'm using all this energy, and then I got to start the next round. Juan made me pay for that, Nowadays, I don't have to stay on the back. Like, I'll transition to top mount, side control, half guard. It just lets me evolve more. It lets me show more shades of my ground game because I am so good on the ground. So that was one thing that I took from it. And, I feel like that's an important thing because, just lets me show my involvement,
Dylan Napoleon.
Patchy, a couple minutes ago, you spoke about your many different training partners. How important is it to you, but also to the sport, to get so many different looks and have so many different?
It's important to have so many looks and different training partners. I think a lot of these other guys, they water it down and they just they find these people that they know they can beat up and they find these classes that they're comfortable in. My shit is all hard ass training. Like I do all, hard. I do a lot of grappling. I find the best grapplers from my weight to 170, you know what I mean? In the world, I was rolling with Bilal Muhammad, Vicente Luque a couple weeks ago. Like I try to find the best ones in the world to grapple with, to spar with, to wrestle with. And I think it's important, iron sharpens iron. And if you're going to water it down, eventually someone is just going to beat your ass.